No, it's the other way around. I had played Aunt Bee for 10 years, and it's very, very difficult for an actress or an actor to create a role and be so identified.
Frances Bavier, widely known and loved for her warm and humorous portrayal of Aunt Bee in The Andy Griffith Show, captured the hearts of audiences worldwide. However, behind her cheerful public persona, Bavier harbored deep personal struggles that would ultimately lead to a tragic end. What were these struggles, and how was she able to keep them hidden from the public eye? Join us as we delve into the life of Frances Bavier, exploring the inner turmoil that drove her to take her own life after having a body part removed. Before we delve into the mysterious circumstances surrounding her death, let's first explore her illustrious career. Early life. Frances Elizabeth Bavier, born on December 14, 1902, in the vibrant heart of New York City, was destined for greatness from the very beginning. Her parents, Charles and Mary, welcomed her into a world of opportunity and possibility. Though little did they know, the course of her life would take an unexpected and thrilling turn. Initially, Frances had dreams of becoming a teacher. With her sights set on this noble profession, she enrolled at Columbia University to embark on a path of education, believing that this would be her calling. However, life had other plans. One evening, as fate would have it, she attended a vaudeville performance that would change the trajectory of her life forever. The moment she set foot in the theater, the magic of the stage captivated her in a way she never anticipated. The electric energy of the performers, the allure of the spotlight, and the raucous applause of the audience awakened something deep inside of her, something more powerful than the desire to teach. As she continued her studies, the pull of the stage grew stronger. Slowly but surely, her passion for performance began to overshadow her dreams of a quiet life in the classroom. The irresistible draw of the theater became impossible to ignore, and soon she found herself at a crucial crossroads in her life. Instead of following the academic route, she made the bold decision to pursue acting full-time, abandoning her former plans to share knowledge in favor of creating her own on-stage legacy. Frances's debut on Broadway in The Poor Nut marked the official start of her theatrical journey. It was there, in the bustling theaters of New York, that she fully embraced her true calling. The experience on stage, under the dazzling lights and before eager audiences, felt like a destiny fulfilled. The glamour, the excitement, and the unspoken promise of fame were all too alluring to resist. Each performance was more exhilarating than the last, pulling her deeper into the world of acting. With her newfound commitment to acting, Frances knew that honing her craft was essential. Determined to succeed, she sought out the finest training available and enrolled in the prestigious American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Here she refined her skills, surrounded by seasoned professionals who would help shape her into the accomplished actress she was destined to become. The rigorous training process was no easy feat, but Frances embraced it wholeheartedly, understanding that true mastery required both discipline and dedication. As her career flourished, Frances took on various roles, but one of the most notable chapters in her journey came during World War II. She joined the United Service Organizations, USO, to bring joy and entertainment to the brave American soldiers stationed in the Pacific. It was a selfless act, one that allowed her to uplift and inspire those fighting for freedom. And it solidified her place as not only an actress, but also a humanitarian. In 1931, Frances Bavier made her silver screen debut in Girls Around Town, a charming romantic comedy directed by the legendary George Cukor. Though her role was uncredited, her contribution added a touch of elegance to the ensemble cast, showcasing her undeniable talent even in the early stages of her career. From that moment on, Frances's star continued to rise, and her journey from a young woman with dreams of teaching to a celebrated actress was a testament to the power of following one's passion, no matter where it may lead. Frances encountered numerous obstacles in her journey forward, but what specific difficulties did she confront while striving for success? What personal challenges did she endure during her rise to fame? Let's find out. Journey to stardom. Frances did not achieve a significant role in the field of acting until 1951, when she landed a breakthrough role in the science fiction classic The Day the Earth Stood Still, directed by Robert Wise. This achievement marked a crucial turning point in her career, thrusting her into prominence and solidifying her reputation as a notable actress. Her entry into the acting world occurred in 1952 with her first appearance on the crime drama series Racket Squad. Subsequently, she appeared in several television shows such as City, Detective, and Dragnet over the ensuing years. Frances achieved a notable milestone in her film career in 1952 with the release of The Lady Says No. In this production, she skillfully portrayed the character Auntie Alice, contributing depth and charm to the narrative. Additionally, she demonstrated her versatility and talent on screen through notable performances in films like Bend of the River and Stooges in the same year. The following year, in 1953, she assumed a significant role in Man in the Attic, helmed by director Hugo Fregonese. Her most recent performance on Broadway was in 1951, where she had a notable role in the play Point of No Return. This production, which also starred Henry Fonda, had a successful run of 365 performances. In the following decade, Frances was a prominent presence in the film industry, with appearances in various movies and on television shows that left a lasting impression. From 1954 to 1956, Frances portrayed the character Amy Morgan in the sitcom It's a Great Life. She showcased her acting versatility in this role by skillfully embodying Amy Morgan with her impeccable comedic timing and captivating performance. The sitcom offered viewers amusement and enjoyment as they followed the exploits of Amy Morgan and her family. Frances's depiction enriched the show with humor and complexity, playing a significant role in its popularity throughout its 2-year broadcast. From 1957 to 1958, she assumed the role of Nora Martin in the television show The Eve Arden Show, alongside Eve Arden. Frances infused her character with humor and charm, enhancing the overall dynamic of the series. Despite her previous achievements in cinema, Frances was unaware that her most significant role was still ahead of her, one that would secure her legacy in the history of film. Getting the life-changing role. Frances, a talented actress, faced a pivotal moment in 1960 when she finally landed the role of Aunt Bee in The Andy Griffith Show. This opportunity catapulted her to widespread recognition and acclaim, but it wasn't without its initial hesitations. Like many actors and actresses, Frances had reservations about accepting a role that could potentially redefine her career. Despite Aunt Bee becoming an iconic character, Frances wasn't immediately sold on the idea. With a successful career in Hollywood and Broadway, she had the luxury of being selective about the roles she took on. The portrayal of Aunt Bee didn't immediately capture her interest, and she felt that the dialogue lacked realism during the early stages of the show. Coming from the bustling city of New York, the charming simplicity of Mayberry presented a stark contrast to Frances's usual urban environment. However, as she spent more time in the southern region, her perspective began to shift. A visit to the area opened her eyes to a new way of life, challenging her preconceived notions and stereotypes. In a 1966 interview, Frances reflected on her initial reservations about the role of Aunt Bee and how her experience in Mayberry ultimately changed her outlook. This journey of personal growth and understanding added depth to her portrayal of the beloved character. Gradually, she came to deeply admire the genuine portrayal by Andy Griffith and the inherent warmth of Southern life. What initially seemed unfamiliar to her gradually began to resonate as she uncovered the genuine essence of Southern culture. The show's script writers ensured that each character rang true, and her experiences during her travels verified the authenticity of the dialogue and character representations. During the development of Aunt Bee, an unforeseen development arose whereby her characterization was not exclusively predetermined in scripts, but also developed organically through improvisational choices and the exceptional performance of Frances. At a critical juncture before the commencement of the show, a pivotal modification greatly contributed to its subsequent success. Andy Griffith, the central character of the program, unexpectedly opted to rename Aunt Bee from Henry to Bee during initial rehearsals. This impromptu decision demonstrated Andy's profound insight into the character and his perception of her resonance with the audience. Despite its apparent insignificance, this alteration had a profound effect on the personality of Aunt Bee. The designation Bee aptly encapsulated her caring and affectionate attributes, reminiscent of the diligent nature of bees in a hive, and also hinted at her significance within the series. Frances's authentic and moving portrayal of Aunt Bee led to a blurred distinction between the actress and the character, ultimately resulting in Aunt Bee becoming a beloved and enduring figure cherished by audiences for many years after the show's initial broadcast. Despite initial uncertainties, Frances fully embraced the role of Aunt Bee with dedication and passion, making it challenging to envision anyone else embodying the character with the same level of warmth and sincerity. The financial success and stability resulting from her role, coupled with generous compensation for her contributions, ensured her financial security. The success of the show also facilitated further advancement in her career. Following her tenure on The Andy Griffith Show, she remained actively involved in the entertainment industry for several years, demonstrating her talent and establishing a lasting legacy. The Andy Griffith Show. To prepare a pilot episode for Griffith, Sheldon Leonard, the producer of The Danny Thomas Show, hired veteran comic writer Arthur Stander, who had contributed to many episodes of the show. This initial production showcased Griffith in the dual role of a justice of the peace and newspaper editor in a small-town setting. At the time, Griffith, known for his success in Broadway, film, and radio, was intrigued by the prospect of delving into television. The William Morris Agency recommended Griffith to Leonard based on his rural upbringing and past roles that aligned well with the envisioned character. Following discussions between Leonard and Griffith in New York City, Griffith traveled to Los Angeles to begin filming on February 15, 1960. The resulting pilot episode, titled Danny Meets Andy Griffith, introduced Griffith as the fictional character Sheriff Andy Taylor of Mayberry, North Carolina. In the episode, Griffith's character apprehends Danny Williams, portrayed by Danny Thomas, for violating a traffic law by passing a stop sign. Subsequent members of the cast of The Andy Griffith Show, such as Frances Bavier and Ron Howard, appeared in various roles as residents of the town, including Henrietta Perkins and Opie Taylor. The show achieved significant success, consistently ranking among the top 10 programs in terms of viewership ratings, never falling below 7th place annually. A Nielsen research study carried out during the show's concluding season revealed that it held the top position in popularity among blue-collar workers and was placed third among white-collar workers, behind Saturday Movies and The Dean Martin Show. The concluding season of The Andy Griffith Show stood out as the most watched program on television, joining the ranks of iconic shows such as I Love Lucy and Seinfeld. Following the conclusion of Seinfeld in 1998, Over 5 million viewers tuned in daily to watch reruns of The Andy Griffith Show on 120 different television stations. Commencing in September 1960, Griffith assumed the role of Sheriff Andy Taylor on the television series The Andy Griffith Show, airing on CBS. The setting of the show was the town of Mayberry, North Carolina, where Taylor, a widower, held the position of sheriff and acted as a respected figure in the community. The production of the show took place at Desilu Studios, while exterior shots were captured at 40 acres in Culver City, California. Co-starring in the show was Don Knotts in the role of Deputy Barney Fife, who played the character of Taylor's close friend and comedic companion. Initially, their relationship was depicted as cousins, a connection that was later abandoned. Additionally, the show featured young actor Ron Howard, who at the time was known as Ronnie Howard, in the role of Opie Taylor, the only son of Sheriff Taylor. While Griffith did not receive formal recognition for his writing contributions to the show, he was extensively involved in the creation of each script. Knotts was the recipient of numerous Emmy Awards for his comedic talents, as was Frances Bavier in the year 1967. Despite his critical acclaim, Andy Griffith did not receive an Emmy Award nomination throughout the show. In 1945, Griffith was inducted into Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia, a national music fraternity for men, while studying at the University of North Carolina. He entered into marriage with Barbara Bray Edwards on August 22, 1949, and together they embraced parenthood by adopting 2 children. A son named Andy Samuel Griffith Jr., often referred to as Sam Griffith, who was born in 1957, and a daughter, Dixie Nan Griffith. The couple decided to part ways in 1972. Griffith's second spouse was Celia Casuto, a Greek actress. Their marriage lasted from 1973 until 1981. Subsequently, Andy tied the knot with Cindy Knight on April 12, 1983, after their initial meeting during her involvement as a cast member of The Lost Colony. The union endured until Griffith's passing. Additionally, through his daughter Dixie, Griffith had 3 granddaughters. Griffith was involved in a romantic relationship with Annetta Corsaut for the duration of their 5-year collaboration on The Andy Griffith Show, as outlined in the 2015 publication Andy and Dawn, The Making of a Friendship and a Classic American TV Show. The relationship was widely known among the individuals involved in the production of the show. Now, let's talk about the iconic couple character of Aunt Bee in The Andy Griffith Show. The role of Aunt Bee. Aunt Bee is renowned in the town of Mayberry for her culinary expertise. In the pilot episode, she presents a platter of fried chicken with various accompaniments, establishing her persona as synonymous with nutritious homemade meals. She frequently provides meals for communal gatherings or church functions and delivers picnic baskets filled with food to the small jail in Mayberry for its law enforcement officers and detainees. While generally skilled in the culinary arts, Aunt Bee's marmalade and pickles receive unfavorable reviews. Andy and Barney humorously describe her pickles as kerosene cucumbers, and her marmalade as emitting an aroma resembling ammonia. To spare her feelings, they choose to keep these opinions to themselves. Nonetheless, Aunt Bee's other dishes are highly esteemed, with Andy particularly enjoying her pork chops and cornbread. Aunt Bee's family members make intermittent appearances in episodes. She recounts a childhood memory of cutting her brother's hair, and, in a particular episode, her sister Nora visits. Additionally, she has a mischievous cousin named Bradford J. Taylor, who appears in a colored episode. In one instance, Aunt Bee is depicted as a teetotaler with a strong aversion to alcohol as a result of her brother's previous struggles with drinking. She is shown playing the piano and referencing her baptism, indicating her religious affiliation as a Christian. As a part of the town choir, Aunt Bee participates in singing at the church. Throughout the last 3 color seasons of The Andy Griffith Show, Aunt Bee experiences transformations. At first, she is seen in humorously outdated house dresses, hats adorned with fruit and flowers, and elegant white gloves when she goes out. As the show transitions into color episodes, Aunt Bee begins wearing more fashionable clothes. Furthermore, she moves away from her traditional role as a homemaker. Aunt Bee ventures beyond the confines of the Taylor kitchen to start her restaurant, host a televised cooking program, run for a political position, purchase a car, and even take flying lessons. Andy and Opie take on the task of cooking for themselves on occasion, showcasing their proficiency, a departure from earlier seasons where Andy struggled with culinary duties. Aunt Bee observes Opie's maturation from 6 to 14 years of age. Following Andy's marriage to Helen Crump in the spin-off Mayberry RFD, Aunt Bee decides to provide the newlyweds with their living quarters and takes on the role of a housekeeper for farmer Sam Jones and his son Mike. She is responsible for tending to the livestock and collecting eggs on the farm. Subsequently, Aunt Bee decides to depart from the Jones household after a 2-year tenure for unspecified reasons and is succeeded by Sam's cousin, Alice Cooper, portrayed by Alice Ghostly. This sequence of events signifies the final appearance of Aunt Bee in the series. Despite the success of the show, there was tension behind the scenes between Frances Bavier and Andy Griffith. The tensions. In The Andy Griffith Show, Andy Griffith and Frances Bavier portrayed a harmonious on-screen relationship. However, their off-screen feud became a topic of intrigue and conversation for many years. The discord between Andy and Frances originated from their differing work ethics and interpersonal styles during production. Frances's distant demeanor and inflexible demeanor clashed with Andy's laid-back and sociable nature. Andy Griffith and Frances Bavier were esteemed figures in American television during the mid-20th century, renowned for their unforgettable performances in the classic series The Andy Griffith Show. Their impact on popular culture was substantial. Nevertheless, the dynamics of their off-screen relationship were tainted by a long-standing dispute that contradicted their seamless on-screen chemistry. Much like the strained dynamic between Selena Gomez and Francia Raisa, the rift between Andy and Frances has been a topic of fascination for many years. Central to the rift were their professional conflicts and contrasting temperaments, leading to a complicated working dynamic. This discord appeared to persist throughout their time on the show and spilled over into their personal lives, thereby becoming a significant aspect of these television icons' legacy. The program familiarized viewers with the charming make-believe community of Mayberry, North Carolina. For 8 years, it engaged audiences with the cozy atmosphere of rural living and the subtle comedic elements embedded in ordinary occurrences. Central to the show was Andy Griffith's portrayal of Sheriff Andy Taylor, a character who exuded a calm demeanor and ethical principles, providing a comforting figure in Mayberry by promoting harmony through sagacity and empathy rather than aggression. Acting as a sole parent, Sheriff Taylor adeptly managed the responsibilities of raising a child, enforcing laws, and mediating local conflicts with a blend of composure and charisma. Frances Bavier was positioned beside him, adding a familial element to the program by playing the role of Aunt Bee, Sheriff Taylor's maternal aunt. Aunt Bee was characterized by her unwavering warmth and affection, often seen preparing homemade meals or offering guidance. Her depiction struck a chord with viewers, establishing her as a symbolic representation of the archetypal aunt in American homes. Andy and Frances, in their portrayals of Sheriff Taylor and Aunt Bee, collectively portrayed a narrative of domestic life and camaraderie that resonated with numerous individuals. The conflict between Andy Griffith and Frances Bavier can be associated with their divergent approaches to their work and personal interactions while working on The Andy Griffith Show. Frances was known for maintaining a certain level of personal detachment from her fellow cast members, including Andy Griffith, which some perceived as aloofness. Her stringent professional standards and assertive personality occasionally resulted in challenging situations on the set. Howard Morris, known for his dual role as a director of numerous episodes and his portrayal of the quirky character Ernest T. Bass, once likened his collaboration with Frances to maneuvering through a minefield due to her unwavering demeanor. Even the smallest requests, such as adjusting a few inches for a particular shot, had the potential to elicit strong reactions from Frances, who was extremely meticulous about her personal space and placement on set. This meticulousness inadvertently contributed to the strain that characterized their working dynamic. According to a source cited by Cheat Sheet, during an interview on Larry King's show, Andy Griffith referenced past efforts toward reconciliation with Frances. He recounted a well-meaning but unexpected visit he made to Frances that unfortunately resulted in discord. Frances, who valued her privacy highly, was distressed by this unexpected intrusion, leading to further strain in their relationship. However, a few months before her death, a pivotal moment occurred. Confronted with a serious health issue and battling cancer, Frances reflected on her past relationships, including her dynamic with Andy. She took the initiative to reach out to him via phone, ultimately breaking the years of professional tension between them. During a candid conversation, Frances expressed remorse for the strained nature of their relationship, owning up to her role in the discord and regretting her challenging behavior to work with. Additionally, she acknowledged that a significant portion of the show's success was attributable to Andy. The price that was paid. Frances eventually decided to depart from the entertainment sector, specifically opting to retire from her acting career. This decision marked a significant transition in her life, enabling her to relinquish the rigors associated with show business and adopt a more tranquil way of life. Consequently, she was able to pivot her attention towards various facets of her life that extended beyond the realm of public scrutiny. Upon reaching the age of 70, she undertook a significant relocation from one coast of the United States to the other, settling in North Carolina with the hope of discovering the same essence of small-town charm that had characterized her identity in the perception of many Americans. Upon her arrival in Cedar City, she was met with a warm reception from the community members. Following her establishment in the town, she was bestowed with a special position within the community, assuming the role of Grand Marshal in various parades, receiving recognition at numerous civic events, and being observed driving her car around town. Her anticipation of encountering a version of Mayberry in this new city was not in alignment with the reality she ultimately encountered. Instead of the tranquil and picturesque setting she had imagined, she found herself in a situation reminiscent of an episode from The Twilight Zone. Her residence attracted attention from passers-by who would stop to gaze through the windows. Seeking solace from feelings of isolation, she would frequent the grocery store or dine out, only to be frequently accosted by strangers. They would frequently make jests about her resemblance to Aunt Bee, leading her to feel a loss of personal identity. Her every movement was scrutinized, even at the beauty salon. She was persistently urged to attend church and participate in community events. The persistent pressure took a toll on Frances, leaving her with only her home as a refuge. Consequently, she withdrew into her residence and preferred having items delivered to her doorstep. This overwhelming situation caused her to feel so detached from reality that she sought assistance from a mental health professional. In 1966, she explained to the Star-Gazette of Elmira, New York, that spending 4 decades as an actress immersed in a world of fiction inevitably leaves a lasting impact on one's psyche. The accumulation of such experiences eventually prompts a need for intervention from mental health professionals to prevent blurring the line between reality and fictional characters. Transitioning from portraying Aunt B on screen to one's actual self off-screen can be particularly challenging given the stark contrast in temperament between the two. Unlike the case with stage actors who inhabit their roles for brief periods during performances, television actors embody their characters for extended periods, often up to 12 hours a day. This prolonged immersion in a fictional identity can lead to difficulties in disassociating oneself from the character even after leaving the set. Such a predicament can create confusion for both the actor and those around them, as people may struggle to differentiate between the person and the character they portray. Though she achieved a level of fame and success in her career, her later life was quite the opposite of what anyone could imagine. Final days. During her final years, the renowned actress Frances Bavier, best known for her role as the beloved housekeeper Aunt B on The Andy Griffith Show, lived a reclusive life in stark contrast to the cozy and familiar setting of the fictional Mayberry home she graced on television screens across the nation. Despite the warm and inviting character she portrayed on the small screen, Frances resided in isolation within a dim and run-down residence where she kept a 1966 green Studebaker with flat tires in the garage. At the age of 86, Frances Bavier passed away on December 6th at her spacious two-story Siler City residence, where she had made her home since 1972. Known for her preference for solitude, she rarely ventured outside, according to town residents and Diana Hatch, the communications director for the University of North Carolina Center for Public Television. Diana noted that Frances could have garnered a large following if she had been more open to the public, but she chose to live a secluded life. Within her home, Frances kept 2 trunks filled with fan mail letters and studio portraits for autographing, showcasing the deep appreciation her fans held for her work. Among her treasured possessions were rare leather-bound books, delicate lace pieces, and an extensive collection of table linens, adding a touch of elegance to her modest abode. Upon her passing, Frances Bavier's estate, valued at $700,000, was bequeathed to a hospital foundation, while the contents of her home were left to the public television network. An evaluation estimated the worth of her belongings, excluding the vintage Studebaker last used in 1983, at $31,000, underscoring the simple and modest lifestyle she maintained despite her fame and success in the entertainment industry. The unpleasant smell emanating from the 14 cats owned by the actress, along with deteriorating plaster, worn-out carpets, and aged upholstery, suggested that Miss Bavier showed a lack of interest or capability in properly maintaining her residence. Her felines utilized a room in the basement and a shower stall as their designated litter box. The reclusive actress primarily occupied a spacious back room, which was furnished with a bed, a desk, a television, and an end table housing her reading glasses, black licorice, and a bell. The only remnants of the actress's television career included the costumes and headwear worn during productions, as well as a handful of promotional photographs. Among her possessions was a blue satin dress that possibly was worn when she received an Emmy Award. In a manner reminiscent of the organized and sensible Aunt B from the fictional Mayberry courthouse, Miss Bavier meticulously stored pieces of fabric in clearly labeled boxes inside a bedroom closet. Despite her careful organization, the creations made from these fabrics remained unseen in the house, as the windows were bare of curtains and the walls remained mostly bare, save for a few standard electric wall clocks. Aunt B was renowned for her delicious box lunches at the courthouse, yet the retro yellow and green kitchen of Miss Frances from the 1950s held only a single cookbook. On November 22, 1989, she was admitted to Chatham Hospital and spent 2 weeks in the coronary care unit. She was eventually released on December 4, 1989, just 10 days before her 87th birthday. Tragically, she passed away at 7:00 p.m. on December 6, 1989, a mere 2 days after leaving the medical facility. The primary factors contributing to her death were identified as congestive heart failure, myocardial infarction, coronary artery disease, and atherosclerosis. Additional factors that played a role included breast cancer, arthritis, and COPD. Miss Frances's final resting place is at Oakwood Cemetery in Siler City, where her headstone not only bears her name, but also pays tribute to her beloved character, Aunt B. The inscription on the headstone reads, "To live in the hearts of those left behind is not to die." If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.